Welcome to Bears Talk Live with Gabriel, where he brings over 30 years of scouting experience to Swift Sports and the best fans in the business. Hit the like button and hype up this video to support the channel, and let's talk Bears football. Greg, man, the Bears are 4-3. Like they do, they frustrated me a little bit last week, losing to the Ravens. I know a lot of people thought we were going to lose that one, but I really had high hopes for us there. Once Lamar was ruled out, I thought we were going to win that game.
Well, I had high hopes too, but when I was on with Aldo, the Monday before that, I thought that, and regardless of Jackson was playing or not, I did not think that was going to be a game the Bears were going to win. And a lot of it was the Ravens were a lot better than a one-win team.
Yeah.
And they were coming off a bye week. They were getting some injured guys back, playing at home. It was just like everything was stacked against the Bears. But at the same time, now to get into the game, the Ravens didn't beat the Bears. The Bears beat the Bears.
Yep.
And that's a little disheartening, but at the same time, it's still a team going through the learning structure of a new offense with a new coach. So it's just gonna, there's gonna be days like that. I don't think everybody's still on the same page yet.
Yeah, it's still early too. This team has a lot of growing still to do. We've unfortunately been hit with a lot of injuries this season as well. The injuries have definitely not helped this team grow, but we won 4 straight games. We're still 4-3. We have a chance this week to take on the Joe Flacco-led Bengals, and we also have the trade trade deadline coming up on Tuesday. And some good news this week. We'll get into all of it over the course of the show here, but the Bears secondary seems to be getting a boost, at least for this week. Tyreek Stevenson should be back, and CJ Gardner-Johnson, the new addition, he was also signed to the Bears and expects to play on Sunday as a slot corner.
Yeah, well, it's been a while since he played in this scheme, but at the same time, that stuff comes back to you pretty quick. It's just really the terminology. And he has been effective in that position. He's played for DA. In fact, he was with Ben a couple of years ago too in Detroit. So, there was a lot of familiarity with him. The guy's a good player. So, I mean, it's a, he might be a little wacko. I don't know much about that, but they don't have him for a whole lot of money. Didn't cost him a draft pick, but he's a quality player. So when and he's played earlier this year, it's not like he's been sitting out since last season.
Yep.
So I think it's a great addition, and he'll probably help them, at least from a physicality point of view, this week.
Yeah, 100%. And he's a guy who he's going to help this defense right away. I mean, one of the things that's been probably the Achilles heel for this defense this year is Kyler Gordon being out and Nick McLeod not being able to play in the slot, and Tyreek Stevenson, he tried in the slot early in the season against the Lions, and he had his worst game of the year, got absolutely cooked by Amon-Ra St. Brown. But
that's not hard to do.
Yeah. Well, CJ Gardner-Johnson is a guy who he considers himself to be one of the best nickel corners in the league. He's physical against the run. He hits receivers hard. He makes them pay. He's decent in coverage. He's good at turning the ball over. He's really good at getting interceptions and big picks, but he can also play the run. He can also blitz and get after quarterbacks as well. And he's a guy who gets under the skin of his opponents as well. Bears fans will remember him. He got underneath Javon Wims' skin so much that Javon Wims punched him and got a bad penalty for it. He did it to Anthony Miller as well. But
hey, if you can get a guy off his game, more power to you.
Yeah.
The other thing that I like about him is he is a big corner. I mean, not tall. He's 210 pounds, 212 pounds.
Physical.
Yeah. He has a little hit to him.
Oh, yeah. He's a guy who's going to bring some bark, some energy to this defense. One of the things I talked about during the loss to the Ravens is both on offense and defense, I didn't feel like this team had enough energy. I felt like their energy was kind of sapped in that game, and they didn't seem to want it as bad as the Ravens did. And I could tell that sitting at home. So even it showed up even more in film.
I can't argue with you. And like the previous 2 games, it was a different story.
Yeah, the previous 2 games, I felt like they wanted it more. When they came out and got that first win against the Raiders, you really saw it there. The team was tough. The team was resilient. And I believe this is a team that's not going to give up. But I felt like they kind of just rolled over in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And got beat by Snoop Huntley, something you don't want to see. But I do want to discuss something about C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I know you mentioned already you don't know much about it, but I want to discuss the term with you because a lot of people will say he's a locker room cancer. I heard that so many times already. And for me, I believe it's a misconception. From what I've read about the guy, he's a player who his teammates love him, but anyone going against him hates him because he's an instigator. He gets under your skin. There's no line that he's going to not cross when it comes to talking trash. He's going to do whatever he can to try to get into your head. So, but as far as being a locker room cancer or a guy who's not good in the locker room, I don't know if I believe that. If Dennis Allen was willing to sign him, I think.
Well, it was both Dennis and Ben because Ben had been with
Ben's
him in
with him too, yeah. And in Detroit,
so
he was hurt most of the season. That's when you have a better chance to be a locker room cancer because you're not being productive on the field, but you're in the locker room every day.
It's a broadly used term, and few people know what it really means.
Yeah.
Okay. So, he's a locker room cancer. None of us know exactly what went on at these different places, why there was a problem. I guarantee it, Ben knows. I guarantee you, Ryan Poles knows because you called the people to find out.
Yep. And you had 4 years of coaching experience with him, with the Lions, and 3 with Dennis Allen and the Saints. So,
but, he had a very successful year at Philly. And, Ian Cunningham can call up Howie because Ian was here during that time. Say, hey, what's the story? And Howie's, I know Howie real well. I worked for Howie for a year. He's going to tell you straight answers.
I'm excited to have him. And Brisker was talking about it, how when you got a guy, Brisker's already kind of like that. Tyreek Stevenson is another guy who he tries to get in the head of his opponents as well. When you have all 3 of those guys in the secondary now, especially if we get Reek back this week, Tyreek has actually been playing really well after that second game of the season. So having him back will be huge. Nashawn Wright will be on one side. CD Deuce, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the slot. I think all of a sudden our secondary, from being absolutely devastated with injuries last week, starts to at least have the potential to look pretty good this week.
Yeah, they just got to stay healthy.
And this is a huge test. I mean, you don't get tested harder than going up against the Bengals, where you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Andre Yoshivas and company. That's a team with a lot of weapons on the wide receiver room.
People are trying to make a big deal about Flacco. I think it's when the injury first happened, they said 50-50 to play this week. It's not like he's a 27-year-old who can come back from a shoulder injury real quick. And a shoulder injury can obviously affect your throws. He's going to get hit because he can't move. So even if he gets the ball out of his hands, he's still going to get hit. And I am not worried about Flacco at all. Yeah, you're worried about the receivers. I'm not worried about.
I'm worried about Jamar Chase. Yeah, Jamar Chase scares me, and that's why I really hope Tyreek Stevenson can play.
You beat Jamar Chase by kicking the shit out of Joe Flacco. You got to get some pressure on him.
And hey, one thing about that, now this is something the chat's been talking about already. Austin Booker is finally back this week. Dennis Allen said he's excited to have him back, and also talked about having Austin Booker here is going to give him the opportunity to move Dayo Odangbo to the inside.
Right.
First, what are your expectations for Austin Booker? I have high expectations for him, but it's been a long time here. And the 3 weeks that he's been practicing in full and not playing had me wondering if the coaching staff
Actually, it's almost 4 weeks. The 3
Yeah.
weeks was up on Tuesday.
Yep.
So this was he's had 4 full weeks of practice.
Full
So
month of practice here. Yep.
Yeah, he should be in excellent shape. His body's not worn down at all, like the other players are. You know, he had a knee strain. It was probably an MCL strain is what he had. But during that period, he was on IR. He's able to rehab from that and get that. And he's in the meantime, he's had all this time to get ready. Don't forget he had 4 sacks in really less than a half of play time during the preseason. Now, granted, it's preseason. He wasn't necessarily going against top guys, but from what the coaching staff says is he was doing it in the joint practices.
He was, and he did it in practice against our left tackles, all of our left tackles when they were rotating.
Yeah, it's good. And the other thing is, the other guys they don't know what to expect. They're not ready for him.
They haven't seen it. When they watch Bears film this year, there's no tape of Austin Booker unless they go back to the preseason.
Right.
So,
but that's all there is. And then there's stuff last year, and they're going to go, not a big deal.
I like the thought, though, of when you were talking about how he's had a whole month to ramp up here. I do like the thought. The NFL is a long season. We all know that. Guys get banged up and are up and down. You just saw we lost Shamar Turner for the year. Dominique Robinson's out.
Shamar Turner. Home run for Swifty. He's the guy who kept saying, put him at edge, put him at edge, put him at edge.
I knew he was going to be better at edge.
And the coaching staff said, I think he's better at edge. So,
finally, I mean, I've been saying this since the 5 minutes after we drafted him, but yeah, they finally put him out there, put him at edge, and he was playing really well.
It wouldn't shock me that now, he's out for the rest of the season. He's got ACL. Wouldn't shock me if you see him come back at 275 next year. If he's going to be playing outside.
Lose a little bit of weight, have him compete outside at edge, and have him be a little bit more explosive out there. Yeah, I'd really like that, man. I'd really like that. I'd like to see it because, I mean, that was his natural position at Texas A&M before he bulked up and moved inside. I understand. Right. Now, they did say all along they planned to play him at edge, but they wanted him to learn defensive tackle first. I just thought he always had more upside out there at edge. But he's a guy who, just like Dayo can move inside on third downs. Dayo Odeyingbo, the chat has been talking a lot about him. Let me see if I can get any of the questions here. Saying he's not playing well at defensive end, but maybe sliding him inside the defensive tackle could help. And then $48 million and 1 sack so far this year, tied for 4th on the team. What do you think about Dayo Odeyingbo?
I think from inside he's going to create another presence in the pass rush, and you can do it if Booker comes as we expect him to come. So, and then, you're creating another interior pass rusher, and your rotation gets a lot better looking.
If he can produce from the inside, and that gives
throughout his career,
he's done pretty well at it.
Yeah.
You move him inside
than it does from the outside.
And then you put him next to Dexter, let Grady Jarrett rest on third downs. And then you have Austin Booker come in at one side, providing some juice. He's going to come in fresh. Like you said, he's not worn down. He hasn't been ran on all these weeks. And he's hopefully a guy we can just bring in. You don't need him out there all game. Bring him in when he can pin his ears back and get after the quarterback. And let's see him create some havoc back there and hopefully get after the quarterback like he did in the preseason.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. I said with Aldo on Monday, I said, I expect to win right here. It's going to be tough. You got the 2 receivers. I go, I don't care. They're going to win this game.
Our secondary has to step up for sure.
Sure they do. But how about this? At home last week, the Jets, who can't beat anybody, put up like 20-something points in the fourth quarter to beat them.
They did.
And that's got to be a deflating loss for Cincinnati.
It does. And then you wonder with Trey Hendrickson, will be big news today if he practices at all or if they expect him to play. But
He
if he
hasn't
gets
even been
ruled out,
limited. He's been totally out the first 2
he's
days.
been out both practices Wednesday and Thursday. Now I've seen it before where guys come back on Friday and are limited and they end up playing. So it'll be something to watch. But if he's out today and they rule him out for Sunday, that's bad for that Cincinnati defense because the Jets, all those points they scored in the fourth quarter last week, that was mostly with Trey Hendrickson out of the game. So their defense they're already not great. But if Trey Hendrickson's not playing, Caleb should have a chance to have his biggest game of the season. And that's something I've been looking into as well. I feel like when you look at the stats, Caleb had something like 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions the first 3 weeks combined. And over the last 4 weeks, he's only thrown 2 touchdown passes and he's thrown 3 interceptions. Right. So I feel like he has regressed a little bit in season. I'm expecting a breakout game. I was hoping he'd get it done last week against the Ravens. But the Bengals provide that opportunity
defense to get it done with. That's where, I mean, they have one of the better defenses in the league.
When healthy, yes.
I really believe that Caleb's pressing a little bit. I don't agree with that he's regressed. I do think that he might be trying a little bit too hard.
And our run game helped out a lot over the last couple of weeks as well.
And I think, the run game, how about the yards that the Jets put up in the run game last week?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now granted, every game is different, and they're going to try to fix that, between last week and this week. But at the same time, that the Bears are going to try to run on them. So it's going to be an interesting game. But I'd be shocked, totally shocked, if the Bears lose this game.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping, I'm cautiously optimistic like usual that we can win this game. I will say I didn't mean he regressed overall, guys. I saw some people in chat already taking me in context. But if you look at his first 3 games compared to his last 4, it's not just the Ravens. It's 4 games in a row where he didn't play like he did the first 3, at least statistic-wise. One thing that really helped us out during the win streak, though, DeAndre Swift got that run game going. And it wasn't just Swift. Here's the thing I think they're starting to do here, because I looked at this too. Over the first 3 games, I think Kyle Monangai was only getting about 3 to 4 carries a game. Over the last 4, he's averaging over 8.5 carries a game. They're starting to have that thunder and lightning, because when you look at DeAndre Swift, he's not good running between the tackles. But you get him outside the tackles, he's one of the better running backs in the league.
I think he's better than people think inside. He's not going to drive the pile, but he is a tough guy. And now, yes, Monangai's better. But part of the thing that nobody mentioned, some people mention, is that one of the reasons that the ground game is picked up is Theo Benedict is a really, really good run blocker.
He is. He's rated top 10 by ESPN. Now, I'm not that high on their pass block and win block rating, but he is the only Bears player rated in the top 10, and he's rated the top 10 run blocker right now. So his run block win rate, and I've seen it on tape, he's pretty good in the run game.
He gets after it.
Yeah, he's fun to watch, man. He's fun to watch as a run blocker, and he brings a lot of energy there. J2K says that since he's bad versus the outside zone, and if you can get Swift going to the outside, get him open in the second level. And that's another player who's missed the last 2 days of practice. Their best linebacker, Logan Wilson, as well. My man, Mitch, thank you. But this is
no, they got some injuries. They've had, I think, like 5 guys who haven't practiced yet this week. 4 or 5.
Now, Joe Flacco did return. I expect Flacco will play, but
I think it's 50-50 because he was. I really do, because of the age, because it's a shoulder injury. If he can't wing it, they may shoot him up and see if they can get something out of it. But at the same time, they don't want to take the chance that it gets damaged worse, and then he's gone, say, the rest of the season or another 5 weeks or something like that. So I had read earlier in the week that they really thought it was doubtful that he was going to play. Yeah. So we'll see.
I'm hoping, the guy I'm hoping if someone's out is Trey Hendrickson, because like I said, I really want Caleb Williams to have his breakout game. This is a perfect opportunity here. The weather's not that cold yet. Yes, it's going to be outside in Cincy. Yes, we're on the road.
Oh, yeah, you got to be going to the game. I forgot you're in Cincy.
I should be going. We'll see about it.
Okay.
We'll see Sunday. But this is a game I want to win. I mean, this is a game I think we should win. Last time I actually saw us in Cincy was the Cedric Benson revenge game. Do you remember that? He was on the Bengals.
Oh, yeah.
And he ran for like 3 tutties against us, and
I
put us in the dirt.
God rest his soul. I like Sed a lot.
I thought he was going to be a lot better in the NFL.
I mean, I like Sed the person.
Yeah.
Now, Sed had a little bit of a sour personality, especially if you didn't get along with them or tried to, mess around with them. But I always got along with him great. And we had a really good relationship, literally since before we drafted him. And, it really saddened me when he got in that accident. But at the same time, it didn't surprise me. That's the way he lived his life.
That's sad. Yeah. Had the flames tattooed on his arms. He was always ready to roll. While we're on the topic of a running back that we could be drafted or that you drafted, what are your thoughts on Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame?
Oh, Bears aren't going to get him
because he's going to go too high.
You're going to go too high.
I did see Mel Kiper has him as the second-rated player on his big board, but
he is a freaking player. But I'm going to tell you this: the other guy, Jadavian Price.
Oh, the other running back on Notre Dame.
He's pretty freaking good too.
I don't think he's coming out next year, but
he's
maybe a year away. Is he? Oh man,
if he
comes out, you can get him in the 3rd round. I like that.
He'll go in the 2nd. I think the Notre Dame backfield is more talented than the Ohio State backfield last year. Both of those guys went in the 2nd.
Over Quinshawn Judkins and Travion Henderson.
Yeah, both those guys. Love's better than both of them. Love's going in the top 10. And I think Price goes in the 2nd round. My only question on Price was, they don't throw to him that much. How are his hands? Well, I've got that verified. His hands are pretty darn good. He looks like when I made some calls. But he's very strong. He's really built and fast as hell. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs like in the low 4.4s.
He says, my man Mitch asks, do you think Love is better than Ashton Genty as a prospect?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. That's tough. I'm not that high. I'm close there, but not quite yet.
He is. You go back some of the runs he has. You get him in space, it's all over because he's so fast. And his ability as a receiver is second to none. Notre Dame actually wanted to split him out a little bit this year. And they have a couple plays, but they thought, well, hey, we can put him outside and have a really fast receiver and have Price running from the backfield and do a lot of things. So, he's special.
Ben Johnson would have. Yeah, he would cook up some stuff.
Excuse me. He's special as a receiver. He's a lot tougher and a lot stronger than, when you see him physically, that he looks like, go back to the playoff game against Penn State with that one touchdown run from like 3 yards out.
Yep.
He just dragged people into the end zone. He had like 3 guys on him.
And Penn State had a bunch of NFL defenders on that defense too. It wasn't
darn right. I mean, he's a tough guy.
Man, I'm as a Notre Dame fan, I always thought maybe I was overrating him a little bit, but I haven't got quite to the level of prospect that Genty is yet. But I'm getting there. I think Love.
Well, my buddy Dane Bugler's got him real high too.
Dane does too. Yeah, but I have a feeling that they're not quite as high as me as some of the edge rushers next year. I really love the defensive line class next year. A lot of edge rushers and people.
This coming draft?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I haven't seen an edge yet that really does it for me.
We'll have to have a
and I've done a lot, but I haven't, the top guys I haven't studied as much as I should. I do, the guys I'm supposed to do for the ages I do work for, I do those guys. But I think there were better guys last year, at least coming out of college. Now they haven't done anything. And how about this? Speaking of that, remember I kept saying that one kid from Texas A&M was going to be a bust?
Nick Scorton? Or
no,
you're talking about Shamar Stewart.
Yeah,
Shamar Stewart, yeah.
Got one freaking tackle for the Bengals. One
He hasn't done much yet. Yep, he hasn't done. No, I'd say, Greg, this is not the time to do it. Okay, we can't talk bad about him.
Yeah, you're right. He's gonna
end up with 3 sacks on us on Sunday. I'm gonna knock on wood here, but so far he hasn't done anything. Let's wait till next week and then we'll talk crap about him. But he is a guy who so far hasn't been very productive. We do have the trade deadline coming up Tuesday though. At 4-3, how aggressive do you think the Bears will be? Do you see them trading away any players like DJ or Braxton, or do you see them making a move for?
Well, Braxton can't be traded. He's on IR.
Well, yeah, he went to IR. I forgot about that. Yeah, Braxton's done.
Did you read Biggs' article today?
I did not. No.
Okay, I'm with Biggs. If they make something, it's the way he put it up. He goes, "Your phone's not going to get real hot with." New messages coming in because of the trade. He thinks there might be something minor, and that's it. I agree with you.
I'm expecting. They're looking for maybe a value deal, some player you can get for a 6th or 7th who could end up being a starter, someone who could be pretty good and help us.
Yeah, or a depth piece.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get another corner at the right price. Part of it too will be, what does Booker do this week? Now, a lot of people thought that Thibodeau might be available in trade. The Giants aren't trading him. They could trade him in the offseason, but they aren't going to trade him now.
I'd love to see Thibodeau. I'd love to see him get dealt, but yeah.
He was excuse me. I was surprised they picked up the 5th-year option after they drafted Carter, but they did. So then I thought, well, actually, it makes it easier to trade him because you got a figure on him for another year, even though it's like $15 million or something like that, whatever the 5th-year option price is for him. But it's they're on record as saying he's not getting traded. Now
everyone says that though. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever heard a GM or a owner say, "Well, yeah, we're about to trade this guy."
That's to get the ante up.
Yeah. I mean, the moment they say they're going to trade him, his value drops significantly. I could see Kayvon Thibodeau being dealt. Same with Jermaine Johnson, the Jets edge rusher. If we could get a guy like that, I'd love to make a move. I do not see the Bears acquiring any $20 million defensive linemen. I don't see Bradley Chubb.
Thibodeau's got 1 year left, and that's at, I think, 15 plus.
Next year, yeah. But we can move a lot of cap around next year. This season, we're kind of all in. Jalen Phillips kind of fits the same mold. I feel like the Dolphins would want a little bit too much for him. He's in a 5th year of his contract. He does cost about $15 million, so we'd have to restructure someone in order to make that move. And then he's a guy we'd have to pay in the offseason. So I don't see us spending that much money for an edge rusher right now. Hopefully,
again, I'll say it. If Booker's really good, they're not going to do anything. That's my gut feeling.
Mitch is asking if we could trade Deo. I not likely, man. Not likely anyone's going to take that contract. And
no, it's the coaches will say he's better than the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And they
like him versus the run though. So that's something.
That's one thing I like about listening to Ben. There's no BS.
Yeah.
He tells you the truth. He's as honest as he can be.
And he's smart.
Doesn't keep any hidden secret. Yeah, it's good. He's not afraid to call anybody out.
Yeah. When we listened to Eberflus talk, I felt like he said something dumb every press conference. What are we going to hear? Yeah, he would just throw up some stuff. We got to watch the tape. Blah 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 blah. But now it comes down to it. Ben Johnson has a great listen. Someone's asking about Asante Samuel Jr. I think that is pretty much ruled out when we signed Gardner-Johnson because
Asante Samuel is still.
I saw some videos where he was working out.
I don't think he's ready to go yet.
I think he's getting close. He's reportedly close. Yes. He thinks he's ready. the team doctors think he's ready. That's a different story. And I think once they do, he will be signed by somebody. But I think us signing CJ Gardner-Johnson meant we prefer him over Asante Samuel because they pretty much play the same position.
Samuel though gives you another guy who can't play outside,
He's
but
just real small.
he hasn't played since he was injured, so he's got to be ready. And how long is that going to take? But it was supposed to be right around this trade period or the trade deadline period that he was supposed to be given the green light.
I think I read the last I read, they said first week of November. So sometime in the next week, he could be cleared, and then we'll find out news on him. I don't expect
he cost you contract. That's it.
Yeah, that's one reason I would like. I just feel like once we signed CJ Gardner-Johnson, once we got CD Deuce, it kind of ruled Asante's because they both are primarily nickel corners. Now, Gardner-Johnson can play safety as well, but neither of them have had much experience at outside corner. And Samuel's really small for an outside corner, especially in a now. Could he play it if he's 100% healthy? Maybe, but I just think the odds are stacked against that.
Well, I know DA prefers to have the tall, long guys outside.
Mm-hmm. The Terrell Smiths, the Zay Frazier's, the guys that we have on the roster that are hurt, but Nashawn Wright also fits that. We're just kind of limited behind that. Once if we lose another corner, knock on wood, that's when we're in trouble, and that's why adding another corner would make a lot of sense.
Yep.
They're asking any thoughts on Christian Wilkins. I don't really know exactly what went on with him in Las Vegas. I know he was cut. He was on a big contract, and he hasn't signed anywhere yet. So reports are he hurt his knee or something. He could be healthy at some point in the season, but have no idea.
I don't see that happening. I think the Bears are happy with what they got inside.
And I don't know if we can spend any more money.
Yeah.
At least
you got very little. You got really very little money to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's tough. Like I say, fans are going to be pissing and moaning, and if they don't make a deal, and it's like, hey, tough luck. It's not easy to make a trade, and when you make a trade, there's a lot of different ramifications about it. As far as number one, what are you giving up? Number two, how much is the contract worth? How much longer does it go out? All sorts of things. So, and does he fit? Just because he's a good player doesn't mean he's a fit.
Yep, 100%. And right now, what we did by signing Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, that is making a big addition, kind of a splash move. He is a guy who should impact our secondary, and we didn't have to give up a draft pick. So if they do add another player, that's going to be like making two moves. So that could be the move that they expect to boost us. Also getting Austin Booker back. So it's like we added two new players.
And if there's any injury Sunday, that is going to play into it too.
Mm-hmm. What happens Sunday, or what kind of impact does Austin Booker make? I mean, does he have a bad game? Do they run right at him and he can't stop the run and doesn't get any pressure?
I don't think you're going to see him playing a lot on because of the first game day. You're going to be seeing a lot of first and second down, but in passing situations, I think he's going to be in there.
And that's where I'd like to see him at. But does he make an impact when he gets those opportunities or not? That could also help depend what happens at the trade deadline. I think
it was preseason when he was playing, but he played the run in preseason a lot better than he did a year ago as a rookie. Yeah. He's just more stout.
Yep. Someone asked about Cole Kmet and DJ Moore surviving the offseason. That's when I think it might be a different story about trading them. I think they'll both survive the trade deadline, but once you get to 2026 and we have a whole off season, I'll say the one reason why I believe this with DJ Moore. You don't draft two guys. You don't see many teams in the NFL that have two players drafted in the top 10 that are both pass catchers. Rome Odunze and Colston Loveland back-to-back years, and Ben Johnson handpicked Colston Loveland. So when you're looking forward this team, those two guys should be the primary pass catchers in the offense. One of them's your first option. One of them's your second option. So that leaves, when you're looking at the future, DJ Moore, his best hope is being the third option. And then what are you doing with Luther Burden? So to me, Luther Burden costs $20 million a season less. you got to trade DJ before his value plummets, and that'll happen 2
No,
years.
I can't disagree with you. The problem, people go, well, why hasn't he played? Well, now he's got a concussion. So he probably won't play this week because it's very few players that go into concussion protocol are allowed to play the next week. There have been a few. There are exceptions, but most of the time it's the following week. But still, his problem is they don't trust him yet. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. You go back, what's Ben always say? When we can trust the guy, he's going to play. So, and it's, there's situations where he doesn't run. Perfect example. There was a pass last week where Burden was playing in the slot and Caleb threw an out and Burden was cutting in. Looks like Caleb's making an awful throw.
Oh no, that was Loveland. I think that was Loveland, not Burden.
No, on this one it was Burden.
Oh, did Burden have one?
Cutting inside. Okay. He was cutting inside. It was
struggling.
It was an option route for the receiver. So depending on the coverage, the receiver does one thing. Caleb reads, he's going outside. Okay, the corner or the slot corner in this case was playing to the inside, really trying to take away the inside. The move was to the outside. Mm-hmm. And Caleb was on the right page. Burden wasn't on the right page. And it's stuff like that.
Exact same thing happened with Colston Loveland. And that's where those guys are expected to be huge parts of this offense picked by Ben Johnson. So far, they haven't done enough. And it's little things
I think it's they've been giving them little packages, but I don't think he's reached the level where they trust him to play 35 snaps in a game or 40 snaps in a game. And it's not the talent, it's what's going on up here.
Yep. But you're hoping by the time they finish this entire season and have all next off season heading into 2026, Luther Burden and Colston Loveland should be ready to take on a much bigger role in this offense. At least that's what you're hoping for.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let me quickly, I'm going to thank today's sponsor, Brunt Workwear, for sponsoring this video. Let me go ahead and show off the new boot, the Omen. I wanted to go ahead and thank today's sponsor, Brunt, for sending me the Omen boot. I absolutely love these things. They're the most comfortable boots I've ever owned, and they felt great right out of the box. It didn't take weeks to break them in. I've only worn them a couple of times, and they already feel really comfortable. They're stylish, too. Not just for work. They have soft toe, safety toe, pull on, or lace up varieties. They offer more than just boots too. A full range of high performance gear built for tough jobs, from heavy duty work pants to weather resistant jackets. Brunt designs durable, reliable workwear to keep you protected and productive in any condition. Right now, for a limited time, my listeners get $10 off at Brunt when you use code SWIFT at checkout. Just head over to bruntworkwear.com, use code SWIFT, and you are good to go. Oh, love the boot. Look, if you're looking for a boot, Greg, these are comfy, man. They're comfy, and I love them. But what I wanted to talk about before the end of the video was Bears are sitting here at 4-3 now. I wanted to get the win really badly in Baltimore, but we're still 4-3. We're still in a better place than a lot of people expected us to be at this part of the season. What are your expectations for the second half of the year? And do you think this team can contend for a wild card spot?
I went into the season thinking 9 wins. I still think 9 wins. Now, does 9 wins put you in contention? I don't know. I mean, that's got to play out. Put it this way: if they're at 9 wins, they will be in contention, and those last couple games are going to be very, very important. Maybe they're lucky and get 10. They're a lot better than they were. I just don't know if they're quite at that level yet. What's your thought?
I know the schedule kind of picks up in the second half. it's going to come down to how we play against the other NFC North teams. But
Right.
if we can
No question.
now, if we can win these next two, I'll be a little bit more optimistic. If we can get to 6-3, if you can beat the Bengals and you can beat the Giants, two very winnable games against teams that aren't world beaters. One of them has Joe Flacco at quarterback. The other one's starting rookie Jackson Dart. So if you can beat those two teams and you can get back on pace here, because after last week, I'm a little bit confused. I don't know if team is as good as a 9 or 10 win team, or I don't know if they just had a couple of wins. I'm expecting us to be better. I'm expecting Caleb Williams to have a breakout game at some point. And if this offense can really get clicking, we should be able to win more games and we can be a 9 or 10 win team. But these next 2 weeks are going to be big. And do we bring anyone else in at the trade deadline? I think there's a chance. I don't expect a big move, but I do expect, Ryan, there are a lot of players out there that are rumored to be on the market. And I think Poles will be looking for a value deal, someone who can add depth or help this team a little bit without giving away any valuable draft capital next year.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also agree that the next 2 games are games you should win. You know, with the Giants, that loss, the Giants lost in Denver was as tough to them or even tougher than the Cincinnati loss to the Jets. Both of them were the same thing. They pissed away big leads in the fourth quarter.
Back-breaking games, yeah.
Yeah, and
where they had like 98% chance according to ESPN analytics to win the game. Yeah,
and you know, then the Giants get beat again last week at home. You know, I think now that, you know, Dable is a dead man walking, and general manager might be a dead man walking, and so and as losses pile up, that's going to play into the Bears' favor.
Yep.
I don't even know who the Giants play this week. I haven't looked.
I haven't.
I used to follow the Giants real closely because I worked there 17 years. But and I don't know the people in the front office now where I did. And you know, the woman that was the scouting secretary, she retired. I used to talk to her all the time. So I don't have the closeness to the organization as I had. I know the Maras, but I'm not gonna pick up. I text Chris Mayer every once in a while, but I'm not going to pick up the phone and call him and say, "What's wrong with your football team?" You know.
Yeah, no, for real. But I mean, they've lost a lot of players. They benched Russell Wilson, and Jackson Dart has.
Oh, I think Jackson Dart's going to be pretty damn good.
I think, yeah, he's showing already that he looks good in the NFL, and he looks like the real deal. He's at least going to be a good pick for them. But they lost their number one weapon and pretty much their entire offense in Malik Neighbors. And then they turned to rookie Cam Scatterbo, and he was getting the ball a lot. He's out for a while as well now. So they're not going to have either of their biggest weapons on offense. Jackson Dart's going to be expected to carry them. The one place where the Giants could be an X factor against us is their defensive line. We'll be talking about, or what are your thoughts on that? Because I don't think I won't talk to you until after that Giants game next. So that'll be a big one.
You know, on paper, they're really good. They haven't played that good. And so that's the one thing. I mean, they got the inside guy that is
Dexter Lawrence. He's a monster.
He's one of the better in the league. They got Burns, Carter,
one of the better edge rushers in the league.
Yeah, I mean they got some people there. So on paper they're really good, but they're not producing.
Yep.
And you know their secondary isn't very good. I don't know. It's like Miami to me. You know, like Miami's just not buying into McDaniel. You know,
man, did you watch that game last night?
I watched some of it, and
I felt like they outplayed the Ravens for 3 quarters, but the Ravens would get easy points, and the Dolphins would drive all the way down the field and either miss a field goal or fumble it and get nothing out of it.
Oh, I know.
Or go for it on 4th down and not. Did you see that? They threw a fade to A-Chain, and it was 8 yards over his head. I've never seen so many drives where they got inside the 15-yard line and ended up with 0 points. So.
But there is a big disconnect there with the coaching staff and the players. You see them fighting on the sidelines. It's been going on a few weeks.
Well, there was a play early in the game. Our buddy Larry Borum had a false start, and the camera flashed over to McDaniel. McDaniel was saying some not so nice things about Larry Borum. He was like, "You," I was like, we're not even going there," but you could see he was going to town because it took away a big gain, and it was a chance for them to. Well, there was a chance for them. They were going to go for it on 4th and 2. Instead, it was 4th and 7. So obviously they brought out the field goal kicker. He missed the field goal. That made McDaniels even more mad. And you could just tell he was on the sideline. And it didn't look like a guy I wanted to play for, cussing and screaming and throwing a fit like that. And you can be mad and intense. Ben Johnson has shown us you can be mad and intense without acting like a lunatic.
You know, I think, and actually Brian Daboll was a guy that when they hired Flus, that was a guy that I would have rather had. And I had part of it is the situation in New York just hasn't been right. It hasn't been all his, but he's proving to be a way better coordinator. I mean, he's the guy who developed Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And had that Bills offense going so fast.
Yep.
He's just better as a coordinator than he is as a head coach. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if he gets fired from this job, he's going to be a coordinator next year unless he doesn't want to take it.
Oh, yeah. He'll be an offensive and a good offensive coordinator.
Yeah, real good one.
Yeah. I've always said that about Daboll as well. A lot of people don't like him. I think he's obviously doing very well for Jackson Dart in that offense. And it's just a matter of winning games. They don't have right now. They did beat the Eagles a couple weeks ago. So they're a team you can't overlook, but I really think the Bears need to win these next 2 games, and then we'll figure out how the season's going after that. But if they can't win these next 2, they're in trouble.
It's done.
It's done.
That's the nail on the coffin.
Do you have
Swifty? I don't think that way.
Yeah,
I think positive.
I try, man. That Ravens game had me down.
We're going to be 6-3.
I thought we were better than the team that would lose to Tyler Huntley again, but it was just it felt. I kept saying this is not the same old Bears, but when you lose to Tyler Huntley after we lost to him,
isn't all that bad now. I mean,
besides his games against the Bears, he hasn't been as good in his career. But both times he played the Bears,
but it's not that. Put it this way: there's a lot worse backup quarterbacks in the league that win games than him.
Yeah. I mean, he plays a lot like Lamar, and when he plays the Bears, he looks like Lamar. But we need to get out of that. They
don't have to change their offense when they put him in.
We got Joe Flacco this week. We got to take care of business against Joe Flacco. That's how I feel.
Rush him and hit him, and he'll be done. He won't finish the game if, in fact, he plays the game.
And
if the other guy plays,
there better be 2 people on Jamar Chase all game. That's all I'm asking.
If the other guy's playing, you can leave Jamar Chase all alone. That guy can't hit him.
Yeah, true. Browning has struggled a little bit. Now, he did throw for like nearly 300 yards the game he came in when Burrow got hurt. But then once he started and teams got to prepare for him, he couldn't do anything. Yeah. So not that great. Not
unusual in the NFL for a guy to come off the bench and play good and then stink the next week.
Yep. It happens all the time because the teams prepare for him and all of a sudden take away what he was doing. And That's how it is. But I'm hoping for it. We need a win this weekend against the Bengals. Greg, it's always awesome to talk to you. Chat, hit that like button, support the channel. Thanks to Brunt for sponsoring the video. Head over to Brunt Workwear and get $10 off if you want to use code SWIFT. And we'll see you guys again in 2 weeks. Hopefully, Bears take care of business on Sunday. Bear down, everybody.
See you later. Thank you.